Okay, we are going to review the practice partner test that you guys did on Friday. And tomorrow's gonna be your individual test. I think you guys are ready to do this. I think it'll be fine, especially after I review today. You guys will be fine. You'll be fine. Let's go through this. Does everyone have their test in front of them?
I could do that. What are you doing?
He's struggling. Is the test gonna look just like this?
Yes, just switched around though, the numbers
Yeah, I
are,
have
will be
everything.
different. All right, are you ready?
Yeah,
Number one, how do you figure out the vertical asymptote?
Look at the opposite of the denominator.
You look at this bottom here, and it's the opposite of this, and make sure you write x equals. X equals what?
-3.
How do you graph x equals -3?
Dotted line at -3.
A dotted broken at -3. How about the horizontal asymptote?
Be -2.
Y equals -2, it's this exact number. Where is y equals -2?
It's gonna be 2 below the x-axis.
Y equals -2 is a horizontal line here.
Miss Audio, you did that wrong.
Oh, purple.
No, never mind.
Supposed to be go
Never mind.
That looks so cool.
It's right.
Okay, yeah.
Can you keep it like that? That looks so cool.
Okay, next. What is the domain?
All real numbers.
All real numbers,
X
cannot be
-3.
-3. And what's the range? All real numbers, y cannot be -2. Now look at your numerator here. If it's positive, what two quadrants are you in?
1 and
1 and 3, your branches. But this is negative, so what quadrants are you gonna be in?
2 and 4.
So your graph needs to be in these two quadrants. How do you figure out where they're gonna be? What do you do?
You're going to go 5 to the left.
You're gonna go 5 to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and up 1. And over 1, up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And connect your dots. Okay? How about the other side? Over 1, down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
5.
And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. Nice. Next one. Number 2. Tell me what the vertical asymptote is.
X equals +3.
X equals 3. How do you graph x equals 3? 3 to the right. What's your horizontal asymptote? Y equals 3. Y equals 3. So that's going to be a horizontal line at 3. Next, what's your domain? X cannot be all real numbers. Y cannot be 3. So now what two quadrants are you going to be in? 1 and 3 because it's positive. Now how are you going to do this one? 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Now could you give me another point to make it even better? So pretend like this is your origin. Here's your parent function, y equals 4 over x. If you put a 2 in here, if you went over 2, you would go up
2.
Why? Because 4 over 2 is
2.
2. So 2, 2. Does everyone understand that?
Yeah.
Okay. You could have done the same for that one. Next one, you're going to go over 1, down 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4, down 1. And then that one. Easy? Next one. I want you to take this parent function, y equals 1 over x, and I want you to give me the new equation that has the given asymptotes of these two in a vertical stretch, these two asymptotes in a vertical stretch by 6. What would your answer be? Y equals, what's the numerator gonna be?
6.
6. How do you incorporate x equals 3 down here? X minus 3, it's the opposite. And then what about y equals
Minus
negative 8? There you go. Number 4. How do you rewrite this into the form y equals a over x? What should you first do?
Add 12.
Add 12. Then what? Divide by 6. So you have xy equals what? 2, then what? Divide by x. So it's y is equal to 2 over x. That's your answer. 3 points. Number 5. Can you first tell me, anything right away without even doing anything? Before you even factor it, tell
Horizontal
me.
asymptote is 0
The horizontal asymptote is 0, why?
because it's bottom heavy.
Because it's bottom heavy. What if the degrees were the same?
It's gonna be y equals 1.
What would it be?
Y equals 1.
What if it said, I'm gonna give you, I'm hearing y equals 1, but that's not correct. What if what if this said 4x squared plus 12 over x squared plus 2x minus 3? What would your horizontal asymptote be? Y equals 4. Good, it's 4 over 1. When the degrees are the same, you take the leading coefficient of the numerator over the leading coefficient of the denominator. So y equals 4. Good.
Not smart.
Okay. If it's bottom heavy, it's y equals 0. What if it's top heavy? No,
No asymptote.
none. There's no horizontal asymptote. When you get to pre-calc next year, if the top is heavy by 1, there's a slant, and if it's top heavy by 2, there's a parabolic, which you'll explore those two asymptotes in pre-calc. So if it's top heavy, there is no horizontal asymptote. If it's bottom heavy, it's y equals 0. And if the degrees are the same, you take the leading coefficient of the numerator over the denominator. Please, people, do not forget y equals. That's a horizontal asymptote. Now, all the other stuff, what should you do? Factor. How do you factor 4x plus 12? And how do you factor the bottom? Quite a few of you guys factored this wrong. You did, I had a 2 and a 1. I saw a 2 and a 1 in quite a few spots.
Adding instead of multiplying in the wrong spot.
So, your domain is all real numbers. X cannot be -3 or negative or positive 1. Now, your vertical asymptotes would be x equals -3 and x equals 1. But watch this. We have a what? A whole. So you can cross this one out right there. But don't cross it out in the domain. So how do you find your whole? You're going to plug -3 in what, Shemaya? In the new problem, right here, -3 goes right here. So you have 4 over -3 minus 1, which is,
-1.
yep, there's your whole. Did everyone catch that? So your domain is all real numbers. You cannot have -3. It's a whole. Next one. Number 6. Can you tell me what the horizontal asymptote is right now?
A 1.
Y equals 1. Y equals 1.
Y equals 1.
Don't forget that. Now factor this. Numerator, and You guys, I'm giving you easy factored problems. I'm not testing you on factoring.
Thank you.
So you should all be able to factor these, just be careful. Okay, what else can you tell me? What's your domain? All real numbers except -3 and x can't be -3 and it can't be -5. What are your vertical asymptotes? X equals -5 and x equals -3, but we have a hole where?
At 5.
So it's not a vertical asymptote, it's now a hole at -5 what? You're gonna plug -5 into the leftover. Here's the leftover. That's your problem. Plug -5 here and here. You get -5 minus 5 over -5 plus 3, which is -10 over -2, which is reduces to 5. That's your hole. Questions? Okay, these two graphs I gave 10 points for, because there was a lot of stuff here. First of all, what do you know? What's your horizontal asymptote? Y
No.
equals what? 1. How do you graph y equals 1?
Up 1 broken line with a highlighter.
What else? So that's a point. What else do you know? Well, nothing yet. We have to factor this. X minus 3, x minus 2, over what? Mm-hmm. So what should we do before we do anything? Cross those out. We want to simplify this problem. It's really x minus 2 over x minus 1. But we have a what? Where? At 3, it's not a vertical asymptote, it's a hole. How do you figure out what the y value of the hole is? You plug 3 here and 3 here. What's 3 minus 2? And what's 3 minus 1? So 3 1/2, we have a hole. So let's plot 3 1/2 over 3 up a half, and you're going to put an open circle right there's your hole. So guess what? That's a hint that my graph is going to be somewhere over in this area, but it's not going to go through it, it's bypassing it. What else do you know? What's your vertical asymptote? X equals 1, right here, x equals 1. How do you graph x equals 1?
Put a point at 1.
Vertical line at 1. How do you figure out the roots? The roots are where the numerator gives you a 0. So right here, what would it be? 2, 0. Where is 2, 0? Now, some of you guys were thinking that this is your new origin. No, your origin is still here. So 2, 0 is right there. That's 2, 0. I saw some people have that point graphed right there, and that messed you up. How do you find your y-intercept? Your y-intercept, you plug 0 in for x. If you put a 0 here and a 0 here, you get 0, 2. Where's 0, 2? Here's 0, 0. Here's 0, 2. So without going any further, I could guess what this graph looks like. Based on doing so many of these, I bet you could figure it out. Anyone think they could guess? It's going to look like this is going to go, because it's got to pick up this point, and it's got to go through that. So I bet you it's going to look like that, and then come down here. Now how can we be for sure that that's where it's going to be? Well, let's consider our critical values. Our critical values are going to be 2 and 1. And what we're going to do is an exclusion chart.
Yeah, this is what she.
1 and 2. And you're going to put in x minus 2, x minus 1, and then f of x. So we find our first 0, x minus 2, that's our 0 right here. So to the left are negative and to the right's positive. And then you do x minus 1, here's your 0 right here. That's going to be negative, these are going to be positive. So we count how many negatives do you have here? 2. So that's positive, 1 is negative. So if there's an even number of negatives, it's positive. So, you don't understand what?
Chart, exclusion chart.
No, those are, you don't understand which part.
Can you just
These
go
are,
through?
these are the critical values right here, which you get a 0 at 2 and a 0 at 1 right here, so 1 and 2. And then these are your factors, x minus 2 and x minus 1. So if you were to set x minus 2 equal to 0, you get a 0 at 2. So think of a number line. Here's a number line. Find your 0. What kind of numbers are to the left of 0? Negatives, and to the right are positive. So for this, you're going to locate, if you set x minus 2 equal to 0, you get 2. So to the left of 2 are negative, and to the right are positive.
Okay.
And then you count the number, you go down the column. 2 negatives is a positive, so they cancel each other out. 1 is negative, and there's no negatives here, so it's positive. So what does this plus, minus, plus mean? Plus means it's above the x-axis. Think of asymptotes as when you're driving and you're on the expressway. What do you have on the expressway?
A barrier.
Road.
Here's your expressway, right? Here's your car. You stay within your lines, right? So that's what you're doing, is you're staying within the lines. So now, and you want to pick up your points. So this reads from negative infinity to 1, which is all the way, here's from negative infinity to 1, right here. It's saying you want to be in the positive region. So how am I going to draw something? Here's your lanes. That's your lanes right there. You want to be in the positive region. So you're just going to sketch something that looks like this. It's curvy. I didn't mean to make it. It should be very curvy. So it should be like this. Now, these asymptotes are telling you it's getting closer to but not going to cross. So this graph it's coming from the left side and it's approaching. And it's going to pick up that passenger, let's say, pick it up and then go straight up. Now, read your exclusion chart from 1 to 2. Where's 1 to 2? Take your finger. Where's 1? There's 1 and there's 2. We want to be in the negative region. And the negative means below the x-axis. So here's your lane. You want to come from here. You want to pick this up. So from 1 to 2, we're in the negative. And then from 2 to infinity, here's 2. Here's infinity. It says positive. So we want to go like that. Like that. Yeah.
I don't know where you get
Roots are the x-intercepts. You set the numerator equal to 0.
Oh, okay.
Just the numerator. There's your graph. 10 points. Next one. Number 8. Tell me what you know without touching this problem.
Do you have to do that in the chart?
Yes, you should do that little chart, yes. What do you do here? Number 8.
Y equals 0.
Y equals 0, why?
This bottom have the.
Where's y equals 0? Where's y equals 0?
Oh, this is like Dora.
Now, a horizontal asymptote is weak. It's a weak, you can pass it. All right, how do you factor this? Help me factor this. How do you factor it? How do you factor this, guys? Okay, so come on, tell me something. What do you know?
There's not a hole.
There's not a hole, good job. So what are you gonna do here?
Finish your memory.
Write none. What else?
Your vertical asymptotes are,
-5, vertical asymptotes are -5 and 1. What are you gonna do now?
your graph those. Vertical
1,
line.
2, 3, 4, here's -5, and here's 1. Okay, Sam, how do you find the roots? Set the numerator equal to 0, so you get -3, 0. Where's -3, 0? Right there. -3, 0. How do you find the y-intercept? You set x equal to 0. Now, I would go back to the original problem. If you put a 0 here, a 0 here, and a 0 here, what do you get? Huh?
3/5.
You guys, if you put a 0 here, a 0 here, a 0 here, what do you get?
Bam.
Oh, that's 3 over
Yeah.
-5.
Now that I look at that,
Yeah, -3/5. Okay, now, give me your critical values. You've got a critical, it's like when you're
-3,
watching the
-5,
scary
1.
movie and the music changes. It goes dun 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 dun. Something's gonna happen. Something's gonna happen at -3. Something's gonna happen at -5, and something's gonna happen at 1. These three numbers need to be organized. First -5, then -3, and then 1. And we're gonna put x plus 3, x plus 5, x minus 1, and f of x. X plus 3, x plus 5, x minus 1, and f of x. Okay, let's do our zeros. Where's the 0? Is it -5? Is it -3? It's right there. So these two will be negative, these two will be positive. Then right here, where's your 0? -5, right here. Negative, positive, positive, positive. And at -1, x minus 1 would be 1. Think of a number line, you guys. Here's your 0, these are negative, these are positive. To the left of your 0 is negative, to the right is positive. So now we count. How many negatives do you have here? Is it odd or even? So it's gonna be negative. What does negative mean? It means below the x-axis. Then, so now, what is this, you guys don't like doing this exclusion chart, but this tells you where you're at. This tells you where the graph is. It's saying from -infinity to -5, where are you at?
Negative.
You're in the negative region. Where is the negative region? It's this area right here. So what you're gonna do is just draw like a branch, like that. Then it says, according to our chart, from -3 to -5, you're in the positive region. So where would you draw something? So watch, I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna cover. Okay, according to our exclusion chart, there's -3 to -5. And it says we're in the positive or negative? Positive, so that's up here. So it can't be down here, so you're gonna be coming from here, and you're gonna pick this point up. Okay? Then, according to our exclusion chart, from -3 to 1, you're in the negative. Well, where do you get that point from? This point? Yeah. It's your 0. Okay. Your root, -3, 0. Then from -3, oh, we didn't graph the y-intercept yet. Sorry. There's 0, -3/5. Got to graph that. Then, according to our exclusion chart, from -3 to 1, it says we're in the negative region. What are you gonna do? You wanna pick up this point, you wanna pick up this point, and go down. Because it says you're in the negative region. Negative is below. And then, the last thing, from 1 to infinity, it says positive. Well, here's 1 to infinity, you're just gonna do another branch. Like that, and you're done. Now, how do you study for a math test?
Give yourself practice problem.
This is what you do. If I were at home studying for my math test, I would go like this.